Rowena. We're back again.
Hi, Krista. How are you?
Yeah, we are back. Yes, I am good. And we are back at our conversation where we were talking about this in the last episode about doing something for women. And shall we do a recap on that for those who have just joined us?
Yeah, I think we should definitely do a recap. So, what are we doing and who is this for? I'll start, I guess, and then I'll leave you to add more details. For me, the program is really for women who are doing incredible work, but they may be struggling with promoting themselves online or, even in a face-to-face capacity, and especially on, say, platforms like LinkedIn. But this is not purely about LinkedIn. It's about visibility in general. However, whatever shape and form that takes. And that's who this program is for. It's for women. And women who are doing good work, whether they are in a corporate career, climbing the corporate ladder, or entrepreneurs, or maybe exploring a side gig, maybe thinking they might leave the corporate sector and run a business, or maybe they are grappling with both and not sure which direction to take.
I think we also came to this because the both of us come from communications background, and both of us have similar paths, right? A lot of our work is with communications. A lot of our work is about helping our clients shine, helping our clients get more visible, and helping them put their best work out there. But at the same time, we also know how important it is for ourselves as business owners. So we probably met a few years ago online. But I think even when we did not meet at the time, in the time that you were doing your work and I was doing my work, I think we have done similar work. We have done a lot of the work in comms, but a lot of times we feel that this work that we have done, or the results, or what we were doing for our clients, developing for our clients, could also be very useful for women. And because you and I, we work with women as well, we realize that there are a lot of women out there who find it tricky putting themselves out there. And from what I know is that a lot of women tell me this over and over again. I don't like putting myself out there. I don't like showing up on video. I don't like, bragging. And which is the reason why we even did our first episode. The episode when you restarted your Thrive meetups, we spoke about that at length. We talk about
right. You did.
That's not a reason for you not to showcase your business, your career. And that's how we decided, well, why don't we do this for the women that we know? Why don't we do this? Since we've been talking about it, we've been encouraging other women to come along with us. And this is a real invitation to get women to come along with us and be part of this as we are crafting it, as we are developing it, as we are putting all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together.
Yeah, that's like, I love the way you phrased it in terms of getting people to come along on that journey with us, so we're not necessarily that far ahead or even ahead. We are walking with you as you go through this. We talked a little bit about the gap that we think exists in the market. Part of it is, the culture. I mean, both of us are Asian. We are living in different countries, but we know what it is to be Asian. And from a cultural perspective, the social norms that we both see, there's a lot in terms of expectations of what you can and cannot do, or should not do. But I also notice that this sort of culture goes beyond just race. It's also like, even in Australia, I'm in Canberra, and I see very similar arguments being put forward by women here too. So it's not necessarily just an Asian thing. I think there are some idiosyncrasies particular to Asians, but I think in general women do feel the need to hold back And there's a lot of conditioning, of course, over the years, right? So it's quite layered in terms of the experience. And I think definitely there are reasons why we need to build visibility for the work we do. We have pay gaps. We are doing good work alongside men. And we need to make the things that we need to bring more visibility to the things that we're working on. And I think where women struggle the most is they don't want that scrutiny, they don't want that attention, maybe because they're introverted or they just prefer for others to get the limelight. But I think there's a place for when we need to also take some of that, but in a good way, in a professional way, in a necessary way, in a way that makes sense. And we obviously think that there's value in that, otherwise we wouldn't be doing what we are doing. And we've also gone through that journey ourselves. We've had those similar challenges. I too am introverted and would much rather be behind the scenes. I too come from an Asian culture. I also don't want to be up in front or doing, just being in the spotlight for the sake of the spotlight. However, when you have things that you need to share, when you think that you can add value, when you have things that you're advocating for, that changes everything. And suddenly it's not about, being in front. It's about how can I convince others of the value of this thing? How can I help to raise more awareness about a topic? And that has been why I've been able to make the shift. But tell me about your story. Like, what's helped you to make that shift, to come to the front, to shine a light on your work?
I don't know about, there's this term that people call ambivert. There's a person who's between introvert and extrovert. I'm not too sure whether I'm ambivert or introvert, but I can say that because of the business that I run, sometimes you can't choose to be an introvert. There are things that you need to do for your business, and you need to be seen, because otherwise there's no marketing done. No one knows about the good stuff that you do for yourself and your business. So that is why, regardless of whatever label you put on yourself, whether you're an introvert or not, or ambivert, half and half, a hybrid, I just feel that if you care strongly about your work, and your work here can be general, it could be, work as in the work that you're doing in the capacity as an employee, or the work that you're doing, or the services and products that you're marketing as a business owner, or even maybe now you're in between. You can't decide whether, you want to quit your job or you want to go into business. If I wanted to come out today to market my business, the biggest thing that you have to understand is you have to be visible. You have to be visible to the people that can be your prospects and customers. So that is key. Whether you like it or not, sometimes this is the hard fact that a lot of people may not be able to, admit to themselves, is that you have to do it. But if you don't want to do it, make sure someone else is doing it for you. But even if someone were to do it for you, for instance, if you engage influencers to do it for you, to market your products or your services, at some point these days, because of authenticity, people want to see who's behind the brand. People want to see who's behind the business, or who's this person that we are talking about. So if we don't see that, suddenly we feel that there's something not right somewhere. In 2019, I was in Hawaii, and I told myself, okay, I don't like doing video, but I have to do something. Because I'm in Hawaii, this beautiful, beautiful place, right? It needs to be on video. So I filmed a couple of Instagram reels, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to do it. No one's going to watch this, right? No one's going to see it except myself and probably a few of my friends. And I did it. But what I didn't know was, during the program that I was in Hawaii, the coordinator picked up on that Instagram reel and put it on the big screen during one of the sessions. And I was like, oh my God, I see myself on the screen. That was the first time I felt like, oh my God, I did something. It was only for me, but then it ended up on the big screen and more people saw it. And that I really can understand. I can empathize. So for people who are watching this and thinking, hey, Rowena and Krista, both of you are so seasoned and you can just, get on camera, get in front of a video and do this. No, I had this feeling like, oh, someone's watching me. And I had this feeling that, wow, how do I do this again and again, right? Because you feel so self-conscious. I mean, seeing yourself, your face up there on the screen is really a big deal. So after that, when I came back in 2020, when the pandemic started, I didn't start a podcast first. I started with Facebook live stream. And when I invited my clients and my friends to be on a live stream with me, they were all freaking out. They were like, I can't do live stream. I can't even do video, not even live stream.
Of course, it's very normal. You went straight for live stream. So,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So that to me was a challenge to myself. I challenged myself. I mean, if I were to do video, let's do video the most extreme way, which is the live stream. So I told myself, if there's something for me to do, is I want to walk through my fear. And if I'm going to make a fool of myself, well, let it be live stream. So
be it, right? So be it.
So be it. So I did it. And at the end of that pandemic year, I had created 50 Facebook live streams with anyone who would want to come on a live stream with me. And I told myself that was like my baptism of fire, right? Worst come to worst, you're going to fail at it and you're going to end up looking stupid. But the best part is I conquered my fear of going on video. And that helped me midway to really get into the podcast and launch my podcast and do all the things needed for my podcast. So I think sometimes we just got to push ourselves. I mean, mine was a little bit more extreme. I went for Facebook live stream. I could have done regular YouTube videos, but I thought if I did the YouTube videos, I would not have the courage to put it on YouTube or publish it. I mean, putting it on YouTube will be easy, but publishing it, hitting the publish button will be difficult. So for me, I took the extreme way. I mean, we are not saying that everyone has to do it my way, but I'm just sharing that how I did it was because sometimes I know if I don't push myself, I wouldn't do it. And so perhaps this is also the reason why we're doing this program, right? Sometimes you need a push.
I totally agree. I do want to, for those who are watching and wondering, where is this going? I do want to kind of highlight that the goal of today's episode is to talk about the program, what makes it unique, and also what some of the participants will walk away with. But I do want to add to what you've just said, because you shared a little bit about your history, and I think it's good to let people know where we come from, because it's about the process, it's about the journey, not just the end result. As you said, people can look at this and go, well, of course you can do it, you know, you look great, and well, I think we look okay, but you know, you look confident and everything's flowing well, but it doesn't always. And just like you said, sometimes you have to do it because you have to be the face of marketing. If you're running your own business, just like I am, I have the same issues as you. I have to be the face of the business. When I was running a magazine many years ago, we decided that one of the revenue streams that we were going to go for, besides just relying on subscription, was events. We were running executive briefings. We were holding intimate roundtable discussions with senior HR leaders. I had to run the roundtables. I had to moderate. I had to be the face of the magazine. So I had to do it. You either say, yep, we're going to do it, or then don't have another revenue stream. It was face to face. I did it. At first, of course, very nervous. I shouldn't be here. Who am I? I'm not really in HR. Who am I to be running the conversation, kind of telling people? These are all senior HR leaders. But then as time goes by, you learn more about the topic. You know how to pick up the subjects, and you focus on what it is that you're doing, which is you're not there. If you're moderating a roundtable, you're not there to be a subject matter expert. You don't need to know the subject, but you need to know how to moderate a conversation. You need to know how to be inclusive and make sure those who are, everybody gets time and space to talk. About 2 years ago, I decided that I too, like you, like to conquer my fear. I don't like to sit in it. It's quite irritating to be hemmed in by your fears, and it's debilitating because you just keep telling yourself over and over you can't do it. And I was telling myself over and over, I can't do video. Like, I do not want to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, I can do it right now. I feel more confident, more at ease, a little bit nervous, but I'm okay. But when I first started, I was like, I can't. And I said, I need to just get rid of this. So I'm going to launch the channel, and I'm going to put videos out. So I thought, but I don't want it to be about me. This is not about me. I'm attempting to work on the issue, but how can I deliver value? So what I decided was, because I'm doing a lot of work around employability, I decided to do short little videos for job seekers. It was like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 7 minutes. And I would just plan what I was going to say and one idea and just record. And you can see, because the videos are all out there. You should look at episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. It is what it is. So I leave it there. There's no need to hide it. So you can see the progression as you go from episode 1 all the way through to episode 12 and 13. So I did 25 of those episodes. And after that, I felt I can handle it now. I can handle the fear. I can manage myself. And so that's why I'm able to do more of these sort of sessions.
You speaking about your YouTube and videos, right, reminds me of the very first episode I did for my podcast. And if I listen to it right now, I just cringe, right? Because you can hear all the hesitance in the voice. Because audio is even worse. I mean, at least video you can see the person and you kind of overlook the audio part. But in audio it's bad, right? But when I listen to it and I ask myself, would I go back and re-record that? Because that's just the first episode, myself talking. It's a solo episode. And I told myself, no, I'm going to put it there so that whoever comes across that will say, hey, she started like that too. She started a bit hesitant, not too sure where this is going.
Exactly.
I can hear that I can hear in her voice. She feels a little bit scared. Sounds a little bit scared. Sounds a little bit scared. I've asked myself this question many times. Should I re-record that solo first episode? But I told myself, no, I'm going to keep it there as evidence of progress. If you call it that, evidence of progress, evidence that, wow, I think I have conquered not everything, but I understand that everyone has a starting point, and the starting point can be ugly, messy, not confident. It doesn't matter, because we always have to start somewhere, which is always ground zero, which is zero, right? So I have decided to put it there. And if you want to listen to it, go to my podcast, go to the very, very first episode and listen to it. And then realize that all of us start with literally nothing. We just decide, okay, I'm going to just start somehow, regardless of what people are going to think about it, or what people are going to say, or how people are going to judge, right? I mean, and here's the thing about this kind of recording is that for my podcast, a lot of the women will ask me, is this on video or is it audio? And of course, I will tell them, of course, the podcast is audio, but I may use some of the video as, teasers for marketing. And they're okay with that. But a lot of women are not okay having the entire episode in video format online. And so that's how much women care about being judged. So I just leave it at that.
Well, we can't help it, because that's where everyone focuses, isn't it? Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's part of the conditioning. It's part of how the world works. There's so much focus for women on how we look as well. So can't be helped. I love that you said that, and I love that this is the conversation for episode 2, because it is talking about how things feel so real. And when you get to see us sharing about this stuff, then it's recognition of the fact that these are all very similar journeys for most of us. You should feel hopefully comforted with the idea that other people are going through this. Nobody really is going through this going, I got it all figured out and I'm going to be great. Everyone goes through this. So, all right. So let's talk about the program itself. Can you tell us a little bit about what the program's going to do or what makes it unique from your perspective?
I always build programs that I want to be part of. So I think that itself is a motivation for me to do something like this. I like programs where I feel that if I were from the outside looking in, I would want to join because of all these benefits. One of the key things that will make this program a little more of Rowena and Krista is that we are both going to be there. We are both going to be guiding or be part of your journey, helping whoever who needs that help. Giving you, I wouldn't say giving you advice per se, but nudging you along, encouraging you, because I think a lot of women need that. Someone needs to encourage them. Part of the program is real hard work. There are assignments. There are things that we will ask you to do, and it's part of the learning process. We don't want to go into specifics now, but if we think about an assignment, it's an assignment that you have to complete. It's not an assignment that, you can choose to complete it or not. It is an assignment that you have to complete, because by completing it, you get to the next level where you can open up yourself more to the next step in your visibility journey. So I think assignments, guidance. What else have I missed, Rowena?
You mentioned that you want to be involved in programs that you yourself would want to attend, and that's exactly the approach that I'm taking as we are working on the development of this program, because it's not finished. We're still working on it. For me, what makes this program really unique and different from other programs that I've seen out there is that we can have this tendency to focus on programs where there's a lot of information sharing, and information is good, but I think as adult learners, a lot of the learning that we do is by doing. I think that's where we fully engage. We can be more partially engaged when we're just learning ideas, but I think, and I know we have different sorts of learners out there. People learn through visuals, and people who learn by auditory means, and people who learn by doing, and of course there are people who learn through a combination of all of these. But I think what makes our program unique, it's really stepping away from just theoretical stuff that you come in and you get all that info. It's about getting some information, but then how can I make sense of it in my own situation, whether it's a business that I already have started but need to take to the next level, or a business I'm thinking of starting, or a side gig that I now want to focus on and ramp up. And so, as you put it so bluntly, there is work to be done. Yes, there will be work to be done, because it's not about going away with some magic bullet. All of the people who attend and be part of this workshop will have very unique situations, whatever that, industry they're in, or whether they're moving from corporate into business for the first time, or in the first year of their business, whatever it is. We're not necessarily targeting business owners. It's for anybody that wants to build visibility, whatever sphere they're in corporate or public sector or NGOs, whatever it is. It's about visibility for the self and for the cause that they are promoting. And for me, the unique nature is the fact that we're going to be working on stuff, but rather than working on the stuff that you're focusing on, you're not doing it in isolation. You're doing it with support. You're doing it with guidance. You're doing it with some sort of mentoring from Krista and myself. But also, very exciting, you're doing it as part of a community. So we have a small group of people, and that is the community. So you have other people who are doing this exact same thing as you. And that is like a wonderful feel good, isn't it? To know that you're not alone, to know that other people will be grappling with similar issues. And part of why it's important to have that community is because as you start discussing stuff, as you start working through your challenges and you're talking to your fellow cohort, you realize, hey, I'm not in this alone. You're facing the same issue. You're saying the things that I'm thinking, but too afraid to say. And that's what makes the difference.
And I think one aspect that we forgot to mention was that because they're going to be working on the assignments, it could also be that they could be publishing in real time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right?
If they are interested in doing that, we certainly will be pushing for that, But, everybody at their own pace. Some will be further ahead than others, and for some taking that first step is quite difficult, and we understand that. But yes, what is equally exciting is the idea that you can go ahead and publish your first post, or you can go ahead and do certain things, but now you've got a community behind you kind of giving you feedback, helping you along the way, and that gives you confidence, that gives you the support that you need. And I think that's a great way to do this sort of work, right? Not to feel alone and isolated, to feel that there are others who maybe in similar situations can understand and can also provide feedback and guidance along the way.
I think publishing in real time is something like doing Facebook Live.
Yes, exactly.
When you're not ready for Facebook Live, when no one is ready for Facebook Live, right? I mean, honestly speaking, is anyone ever ready for a live video? I don't think so. But I think the more you do it, it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the more you see things happening for you. We've been talking about visibility all this while, the program that we are putting together, but it's not just about the program. I want to also highlight the fact that beyond the program, there are the opportunities for you. It's not just about, okay, I have to put a post out there. I have to write about my business. I have to showcase my stuff. But this is just part of the journey. The other part that we want to highlight is that beyond that, there are opportunities. People will find you. Clients will find you. Collaborators will find you. So a lot of people who stop dead in their tracks because they say, I can't do this. I can't put stuff out there. I don't want people to judge me. You're forgetting that there's gold at the end of the rainbow. It's not just about such a difficult task, right? We're focusing on the task, but we're focusing on what are the outcomes, what are the things that you want at the end. That possibly could be a good way to motivate yourself. Like a lot of people tell me, I want more opportunities. I want people to know me. I want people to know about the good work that I do. But how can they know you and know about the good work that you do if they can't find you? If they can't see a demonstration of what you're doing? Part of that process is that yes, you're in this program, you're learning to overcome fears and doubts about posting or being visible. That's one. But let's not forget that beyond that, there are results. There are certain outcomes. Like maybe you want to be seen by a certain group of people. Maybe you want to be known for your craft, the work that you've been doing all this while. And this is your way of getting there. So look at our program as a bridge for you to get to where you want to go. So this is the bridge that you can build for yourself through this program, so that you don't feel that I want to get there, but I'm still on this side of the river. I can't get there. You can't get there because you haven't built that little bridge that takes you to the other side. So that's where I think that sometimes we think of programs like, oh, it's a program, but the program has an outcome. And that outcome or the objective is where you get to a certain opportunity or a group of people take note of you. Would you agree? Rowena.
Yeah, totally. And I would also say that the clarifying part of the journey and part of what will be covered in the workshop is that clarifying exercise. Because for some of us, because we've sort of resisted this idea for so long, like I'm not good enough or I don't want to be in the front, when you resist this for so long, then the ideas around what you want to do, what you want to achieve are also blurred. They're just in your head, and it's just success. Success as a whole is there, but what does that success look like, and what does that mean? That may be vague, because it's good to leave it vague. I just want success, but what does that mean? And so for some people, it'll be getting my book out. For some people, it'll be launching a program. For some, it'll be, I want to have at least, I want to get started on public speaking. I want to be invited, on a board. So it's about understanding and clarifying what that vision looks like for each of the participants. And that's where I see us being able to assist with helping to clarify what those goals are. Because once you know what are those things that you want, it's a lot easier to work towards it. But if it all stays hazy in your mind because you're dealing with the challenges, as you pointed out, then it's very hard because it's all muddled up, right? And as you pointed out, we can get caught up in what appears to be difficult, but we have to also keep in mind and be motivated by the outcomes. What is that pot of gold at the end? There is a pot of gold. It's not just for the sake of doing it. We're not just doing it for the sake of it. We want certain achievements, but that changes for each person. So people may be wondering, well, what does this program look like? I thought we could just give some highlights in terms of what we might do. So first thing off is we would have a workshop. This is happening over 4 weeks, so we definitely have workshops every week. They are live workshops. We would have coaching sessions. So group coaching, we'll be looking at things like LinkedIn profiles, but also websites. We were looking at things like coming up with an action plan for visibility. Some of the activities may involve content challenges. And because you're part of a group, we're going to have check-ins, we're going to have group coaching, we're going to have some form of accountability being set up so that with that's where you get some traction. So it's not just about coming up with the ideas. The accountability is to help us move from A to B. But expand on certain things that you feel we should cover off now as well.
Why 4 weeks? Rowena, 4 weeks is good for a start. Okay, is because 4 weeks is something we can think of at week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, doable. It's a month. If we had it any longer, if we had it like 3 months or 6 months, it would be just a drag. It will be a drag on everyone's time and energy.
Too big a commitment as well, right?
Yeah. And also for us, even if when you're watching this, we are putting ourselves out there as this is a behind the scenes. This is me and Rowena talking about the stuff that we're going to do. The program we're putting together is also a way for us to show you that when you start, there's not going to be like concrete answers, right? Like this is how it is. We have a big picture idea. We have this overview of what we want to do. But we also need to, in a way, kind of experiment with our time because she's in Australia, I'm in Malaysia. So we have to work with our time zones, that's for sure. So we thought 4 weeks is doable for many women. And because the time commitment also, right? I mean, between the time zones and all that. So between myself and Rowena, we feel 4 weeks is good. If the next cohort, if there is a next cohort, and we hope there's a next cohort, we could possibly see how else. But 4 weeks for us is a really good way to test out our idea.
But why not shorter? Why not shorter, Krista? Talk a little bit about why this isn't a 3-day thing or one a week.
I've been, and I'm sure you've been too, right, Rowena, to conferences, workshops, 2-day workshop, 3-day workshops. I love workshops. I love 3-day programs or 2-day programs. But the problem is after that is I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to get started. I get all revved up after the program, after the 2 days. I come back and I start, okay, what do I do now? Like, where do I
that's
even...
right.
begin?
Because there's so much of content being delivered. It's just content delivery. It's a broadcast. We're not doing it this way. We're not broadcasting information. We are going to share some information, and then you're going to take that information and make it a reality in your individual circumstance. So that's why we feel 4 weeks. You can't do this if you're in a workshop for 3 days. You can't do this if this is a one-day thing. There's just simply not enough time. And we don't want to be dealing with things at a surface level. We actually want to dig into several aspects that you need to look at when you're talking about visibility. So 4 weeks gives us time to not just tackle all these various topics, but also you need time to process all of this in your own, because we also expect that people are working. People are doing other things alongside this, and
people have lives
time
to lead.
Space. People have lives.
They have families.
Yes.
They have families. They have
kids,
things to do.
Whatever.
Kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
in-laws.
so we like to build in that time and space for you to digest, go off and create, come back, scrap that, chuck that out, redo. You need time for that, right? And so we feel like anything longer may just not work because it's just too dragged out, but anything shorter just won't do the program justice. So as Krista pointed out, we're starting with 4 weeks, but as you can see from a behind the scenes, the plan is to kind of go with the flow as well and get feedback as we engage with the cohorts and see how everyone's doing, because we expect people will have ideas for how things could change, and we're definitely open to hearing from people about what works and what doesn't work.
I like the experimental nature of what we're doing. Experimental in the sense that we're building it together with participants as we go along in this program. And because this is the first time I'm collaborating with Rowena, so both of us are also working out certain kinks, like who's in charge of what, who's doing what. When you want to do something, you want to do something for the long term. It's not something like, hey, let's get it put together in 2 days and let's run the program for 2 days. I have had people who've asked me to run certain programs, like, can you teach me in a one-day workshop? And I've always held back. Not because I couldn't teach it, it's because I feel that there's no point doing it. Because the person will be back where they are 3 days later because they were not fully ready. And you can't be fully ready until you do the work. You can't just come and listen to me tell you, here's how you should do this, here's how you should position yourself in the market.
No, totally.
You can't. That's just a download of information. And you want to download information, there are plenty of videos out there for you to download information. If you want
There's
to
videos,
do
articles, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, videos, articles, podcasts, whatever you want to do. Go and pick someone and listen to or read their books, right? But if you really want to master it, I would say master it and confidently master it, you have to do the work. And this is what I think Rowena and I have always been talking about whenever we get a chance to talk about, is that you really have to do the work. It is not easy. It is not something that's not like a walk in the park, The work is hard. So I don't want to scare anyone watching this video, but I want to say that this is really for people who are ready to do the work. It's not for you to think, I'm going to take a 4-week program online with Rowena and Krista, and at the end of it, I'm going to have an easy time, make some friends in the program, and walk off. If you're not ready to do the work, this is not for you. So I'm going to put this out there very bluntly. If you feel that, you don't want to do work and putting things or putting yourself out there or doing the assignments are going to be hard, this may not be the program. So just a fair warning to anyone who thinks that it's going to be easy since Rowena and Krista is doing it.
I think that's a good point to make. Yes, we don't want to scare people, but this is not the program for you if you're not willing to. And it might not be the program for you at this point in time, maybe at a later point in time. But yes, we do see this process as a co-creation with participants, and we see that what you take away is very much dependent on what you bring to the program, because there is quite a bit of work that needs to get done. Not work just in general, but work on you, work on your outcome. So if it's more speaking, then it's about looking at what are some of the things you want to do in that regard. If it's, I want to put out a program, it's what you want to do in relation to that. If it's getting on a board, if it's launching the business. So every individual will have different outcomes they want. And it's about the work that they need to do to make those individual elements come together slowly. And that's why 4 weeks really helps, because you can begin the work and you can see the traction that you're getting. And as you have these small wins, there will be hiccups along the way, as happens. But as you get the wins, the small wins, there's celebration and there's a bit of motivation to go, okay, that worked, and then let's do the next thing.
Yeah. So I think that would be good enough for this behind the scenes reveal a little bit. So what do you do if you're like, oh, I'm interested now? Now both of you have gotten me really excited. I can't wait for the program to start, right? So what's the next step, Rowena?
Well, the next step is to hit the link below. There'll be some information there, just a short form that you can fill up, and you can get email updates as things are progressing. Simple as that.
So this is me and Rowena coming to you from behind the scenes, explaining to you about our program, even as we are building our program. So stay tuned for the next episode. But remember to take the action if you're interested. Go to the link below and fill up a short form, an expression of interest that you like to be updated when this program is finally launched and ready to go.